I'd like to introduce Tu Pham, our chair for today from the East Lake Merchants Association.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for showing up today. We are, first let me introduce, I'm sorry, I switched the agenda a little bit, but we need to introduce ourselves. These are a group of merchants from East Lake. We combine with San Antonio. Some of them are also from the district, and we want to work in this project ourselves. We basically come together. These are the very first meeting that we have with AC Transit here at East Lake. Many of our merchants are very concerned because they don't even know what it is, what is your project is about. And so we're here today, and we are hoping to have many more meetings with you. Let's go around and introduce ourselves, who we are, and for the merchants in the area, please tell AC Transit and everybody how long have you been here and what your business is. Let me start with myself. I am the manager for HB Dental, manager and owner for HB Dental, which is 650 International Boulevard. I have been here for more than 20 years. That's why I care about community. I care about what's happening in the area. And I'm also co-captain for East Lake.
Hi, I'm Shelley Liu. I'm from New King Restaurant on 200 International. We haven't been here that long, but we've been around International and East 12 for about 20 years, all my life.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Anna Wong and I'm owner with Saigon Printing. I've been in this business for 5 years and I do concerns very much about the community and the area, especially the parking, stuff. Thank you.
Lorena Arroyo Garcia. I'm with A Ventures and I'm part of the Merchant Outreach team.
Hi, my name is Terry Lightfoot and I am the Community Outreach Manager for the BRT project, and I'm with L. Luster and Associates.
Good morning, Andrea Lowe with A Ventures as well, and we've been working on merchant outreach as well as we'll be working on outreach as far as with the contractors once the construction opportunities begin.
Hello, I'm Pat Kernahan. I'm the City Council member for District 2, which this area is part of.
Thank you.
Elisa Gallo. I'm with the City of Oakland in the Office of Economic Development, working on the BRT Business Mitigation Program effort.
Antonio Barca, just a resident and concerned citizen of Oakland.
Kevin Blackburn, lifelong resident of District 2, minus 7 years, and candidate for City Council District 2 since their councilwoman is retiring. So.
Okay, my name is Jeffrey Johnson. I am the community planner for Transform. I'm here to listen to concerns about the BRT project. I am a former staffer for Oakland City Council District 1, and I grew up here in Oakland, preschool through 12th grade, so I have been a long-time Oakland resident.
Good morning. My name is Rinaldo Terrazas. My wife and I bought a half a block on East 14th and 18th Avenue in 1970. We resided on the old Victorian next to the Hebesco Cafe, and I had my business next door. We have an apartment building on East 14th and 18th Avenue, and another building on 18th Avenue. That's who I am.
Buenos días, yo soy Francisco Bautista, que vengo de la revista Universal. Mi negocio está en la avenida 23 y la Internacional. Tengo 3 años ya con el negocio.
My name is Francisco. I own a magazine, a Universal magazine, at 23rd and International. I've been in the neighborhood for the last 3 years.
Good morning, my name is Vianney. I'm from Vianney's Kitchen here in Oakland. I have a business in Oakland, but I'm from San Jose. And I came here because I saw something, and I don't want it to go away.
I'm Andy Nelson. I work for the East Bay Asian Youth Center.
Hi, my name is Lynn Truck. I have the business, the grocery, the Sun Harvard Market. I work here about 25 years, and my sister worked first, and all total like 35 years I live here. Thank you.
Oh, hello. My name is Henry. I own property here and a business here. This is my big concern here.
Andrew Park, I'm with Tribe. We're looking at possibly leasing or buying space on 23rd and International. I'm also a candidate for City Council.
David Wilkins, AC Transit, BRT Program Director.
Javier Sibahat with BASIC.
So is it everybody? Thank you so much. So let me go forward to the agenda. The purpose for the meeting today, let me tell you something. We, our merchant here, have the passion for our area. So when you come to our area, we would like to know why and what impact you will bring to us. And so today we would like to go over three things. First, we want to express the concerns when the BRT come in. And also second, we want to hear what you have to say, your plan, and how do you address and your response to the question and concern that we raise. And number three, we would like the AC Transit to tell us your concrete commitment to address our concern. You know, in the past, I have attended many of the meetings. For instance, one of the meetings was on 5th District. Their concerns are very familiar and very similar to what we have. And yet, today I'm here to ask you respectfully for your concrete proposal and commitment to work with us. Please do not go in a circle because we don't have time for it. And we will make our commitment known to you that we will fight to the best we can to make sure that you are working with us because the impact is tremendous. So let's go over the concern that we have. So Shelley, do you want to talk about the parking in the area and what you have so far since AC Transit is here as well at the city?
It is said that this project will take away about 400 to 500 customer parking spaces all along International Boulevard. This brings up many concerns of the merchants. We are afraid that our customers will not be able to find parking all along this block because, well, it already takes a long time in general. We're afraid that trucks that needs to unload or load their supplies will cause traffic and will make it thus harder for our customers to come to our businesses or to their work or so. We are also afraid that customers that would like to come into our parking lot, if any of the business owns the parking lot, will have a harder time driving in and out, and it will cause safety issues for them. In addition, people who need to find parking will probably take advantage of our parking lots, and this will just make problems for our possible customers to come in and look and have a spot to come in and use or do business with us. And I already think that I can't afford a valet parking system for my small little parking lot, so that's one of my issues. But all along this area, we're just thinking about what are you going to do about these 500 parking spaces that would be taken away?
Okay, thank you. Also, what about the Francisco? Okay, you can raise your concern about the loading zone.
Sí, mi pregunta es la siguiente. Yo soy Francisco Bautista y mi pregunta es la siguiente. ¿Cómo el proyecto del BRT pretende resolver el problema de carga y descarga de la mercancía, siendo que algunas calles no cuentan, o la mayoría de las calles no cuentan con callejones detrás de sus negocios?
He's saying that parking is difficult, or loading is difficult in the business area because the people park there in front of the business anyway. And obviously if you just have one lane, it's going to be a problem.
Okay. All right. Also, what about? Would you like to talk about the overall?
Did anyone translate?
Yeah, they translate. The overall changes in the area is not going to be as the same neighborhood that we have been for the last 20 years.
That's right. The BRT is going to make it very difficult for businesses that do depend on foot traffic, such as automotive repairs, wholesale supply businesses, and light industry. These businesses create jobs, usually better paying jobs than the retail that will replace them. The entrepreneurs who have created them on East 14th Street did so with their sweat and taking their own risk and carving out a living on a very dangerous environment on East 14th Street. They pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes every year, supporting an agency like AC Transit. Many of them are going to have to close. We want to know what will be done to help these businesses, and also want to know where would businesses like that will be allowed to thrive in Oakland. We know you can't answer these questions, but you should know that for us, what is at stake is what happened to an entire section of businesses who, through no fault of their own, just don't fit in. Oakland have rezoned this area 3 different times over the last 44 years, and every time they're rezoned, they're more restrictive. And what's happening is that little by little, those businesses have to go somewhere else. And with AC coming down East 14th Street, it just makes it very, very, very difficult to be in business. And I'm kind of curious. The city council person, I assume you voted this. Did you vote on this issue here?
On the BRT or,
Correct, yes.
or on zoning?
No, on the EAT. Did you vote on that issue?
We have not given them mitigations.
No. Ultimately, what was in your idea? What was the benefit to people in 14?
I'm sorry. I think we will try to stick with the agenda, so I'll jump right now to tell you about our concern, and then AC Transit have an opportunity to follow up. And then after you hear both of our side, then you can talk about, what do you have in mind? Is it okay?
Is it okay?
Okay. So before we move forward to AC Transit, to give you an opportunity to discuss with us, I want you to know that last week, I think 2 weeks ago, we had about 40 to 50 merchants in the area coming yes, you were there. And so it was very explosive. We expressed our concern, our frustration, our anger. It was a lot. And the meeting was at 3:30. So the reason we switched it to 9 o'clock is so those merchants who could not make it there can make it today. And that's the reason why, but there's a lot of the missing puzzle, which is from you. AC Transit wasn't there, but the city heard our concern, definitely. So bottom of the line is this. We want you to address. We've been here for 20, 30 years, a lot of our merchants. And yet, some of the business will be gone forever. You are taking 4 lane, merge it into 2 lane. And so that will affect our ability to load and unload. Restaurant will be suffer because by 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, our area will be shut down completely. It's not safe for us to receive our delivery, okay? And also, we are competing with Chinatown people. When you think about that and other merchants in the area, so if they circle around for 10 or 20 minutes to find one parking lot, one parking space, they decide to go elsewhere. And that's our challenge. So what are you going to do about that? You are not talking about the merchants. You're not talking about the business, 1 or 2 business. You're talking about many of us. That will equate to our family, our children that we have to feed, our employee. For instance, my office, we have 20 employees. Each of them you multiply to 4. 20 times 4, that means 80 people. You are talking about it's just so many layers of effect here. So I would like to sit down with you. We would like to hear what can you do to help us out. Thank you.
Just to talk a little bit about the structure of the meeting today, so we're all clear. That first of all, this agenda put together out of questions by merchants themselves. I want to ask everybody here to respect the integrity of this agenda. For whatever reason you may be here, I'm asking that of everyone in the room, including our folks, and we'll make sure that we get a chance to get all of our questions addressed as this process goes on. I just want to ask folks to respect our community and respect our merchants by respecting our agenda this morning, and we will do the same. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Sure, sure.
Oh yeah, that'll be more than enough, I think. So, let me start with, we'll as we do the presentation, I know there's some follow-up questions that'll be asked after we are complete. And so, but if I'm saying something that folks are unclear about, feel free to interrupt and make sure that we're covering the ground doing one address. So, where we are in the project, I think it's important to talk a little bit about this project has been under consideration, under planning for a very long time. And where we are now is after having followed a very intensive environmental review process in which the public is very heavily involved in providing comments on that. We received, we met the requirements under the environmental impact reports and impact studies to move forward with the project. And we have had ongoing conversations with stakeholders, including the city of Oakland and also San Leandro and other groups about how we collaborate on bringing this project to fruition, actually on behalf of the corridor. Many of you are familiar with OSNI, and Elisa, help me, I want to make sure I don't butcher the name, but Oakland Sustainable Neighborhoods Initiative for International Boulevard has spent a lot of time and energy trying to develop ways in which to enhance and develop the corridor. And that hasn't changed. And it's a vision that's been held by the community for a very long time.
Sorry, yes. Does anyone need translation?
Translation? You got translation? Okay.
While we're at this pause, want some coffee for everybody?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Coffee and water, tea.
Coffee, water. Sure. Okay.
So let me know when to continue. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, so the ability to contribute to an improved economic and community development along this corridor has been a vision for the community for a very long time. We believe that the East Bay Bus Rapid Transit Project is an investment into this community in a lot of different ways. So the project, whereas it brings in a particular kind of bus service, it also adds other features that we think benefit the community, and we'll talk about those in the project. So I think it's important as we have the conversation to appreciate that there are benefits that come with a project like this, and there are mitigations that come with a project like this. And what is important to try to understand is how do you balance the benefits and how do you manage the mitigations. We are here, this project is here to enhance the community. It's not here to try and put folks out of business. We are really trying really hard to find ways to limit those mitigations through construction. We're working with the city to identify other ways in which we might be able to assist with bringing other support services to local businesses in this process. So I think the one of the comments I think I heard was, what is our desire to work with the merchants in this area on this project, and our desire is very high. We have had several meetings like this. We want to have more. We intend to have more to continue to gain merchant feedback and suggestions for how we can mitigate some of the concerns of the project. So go to the presentation. So I'm not going to bore you with the map other than to say that it's a very long map, and that where we are today up toward the northern end of the corridor is where we're talking about the East Lake and the San Antonio areas. Okay. So again, what are some of the project highlights? It is a $178 million investment in the community. It's a 9.5-mile corridor in which you will see a significant portion of that. You will have significant street improvements that will enhance mobility up and down the corridor. The bus service itself, it's important to remember that much of the community around this corridor is very dependent on transit. It's a very highly transit-dependent corridor. So when we talk about mobility and helping people get to and from jobs and businesses and services and shopping and commerce, many of the people along this corridor depend on AC transit services to do that. So this BRT project is a further enhancement of those services that we can provide folks who live along the corridor. And so we're also looking at career employment opportunities for folks who are looking for jobs at AC Transit. There are also going to be job opportunities for the construction phases of the project. We have a number of programs in place to help us employ local residents, disadvantaged workers on the project. And so we believe that these are some of the additional benefits that come with the project, and there are some other ones on the next slide we can talk about as well. So many of the things we're looking at when we talk about complete streets and looking at how infrastructure projects can benefit communities, we talk about bicycling and pedestrian access. This project will improve the ability and the safety of bicycle transportation up and down the corridor. It will increase the ability of pedestrians to walk safely and up and down the corridor. There are a number of places where we're adding in additional crosswalks, both perpendicular to International Boulevard, but also parallel to it, so that folks can walk up and down, get to businesses, and shop from a pedestrian perspective as well. And we do believe that this project can serve as a catalyst for economic and transit-oriented development. There is a large, significant study that has been done that looks at the transit-oriented development on this corridor, and we believe this project ties very nicely into that vision. And so we hope that at the end of the day, when we look toward a long-term vision for the community and the corridor, that the BRT project is just a beginning component of what is a long-term economic and community development opportunity along International Boulevard. So these are some of the other, why BRT? When you're looking at trying to every 5 minutes versus every 10 minutes or so with the regular AC transit buses, increasing security with additional lighting and also cameras around the bus stations and the like. So these are things at the end of the day really help improve the transit experience for folks who live up and down the corridor. So just to touch on where we are and what's likely to take place so you get a sense of the timing of things. So we will be looking at beginning construction on advanced utility relocations and some parking lots in the summer of 2014. We will be completing the 65% design for the bid package 3, which is the major construction, which is the stations and roadway construction. And that actual construction will begin in 2015, probably the fall of 2015, with the completion of the project ready to start operations in November of 2017. I'm sorry, yeah. Let me know if I need to slow down or pause, okay? Okay, good. Okay, so what I want to talk about, getting into this slide, is that we have been doing a number of different outreach activities to get input from businesses about the project. One of them are events like this, where we have a standing offer for many of the community-based organizations up and down the corridor to come and meet with their constituents to talk about the project. What's really valuable for us, in addition to sharing information, is also making sure that we're hearing from you and what your concerns are, but also what are some of the potential mitigations that we can bring to the table as part of the 65% design that can help us figure out ways in which we can minimize impacts of the project during construction. Okay, so whereas I'm doing a lot of talking at the moment, what's really valuable is that we're hearing from you about proposed ways in which we can actually look at the configuration, incorporate that into the design document, and see if some of those things are feasible to mitigate and lessen some of the impacts on business. Okay. The other thing that we've done is we have, Jay is in the house, Jay, from NRE. They have done a block by block merchant outreach effort beginning in November, in which they went up and down the entire length of the corridor to engage merchants and talk to them about the project. Again, hear their concerns, get feedback or possible mitigation from them about the project. We think this is important because in order for us to look at our design, how we're going to build out the project, we want to make sure we're getting input from businesses that is integrated into that approach. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're creating a mechanism that allows us to be very specific about what kind of mitigations business owners can expect, what are the impacts on their businesses, what are their concerns are, and then have a means in which we can actually implement that during construction so that any contractor who wins the job will know what kinds of mitigation he or she is expected to have in place, and the business owner also knows what should be done on his or her behalf in order to make sure that any disruption to their businesses is limited. Okay, so I'm missing a slide here. What I wanted to share with you is that we did a block by block, in this block by block effort in San Antonio and East Lake area, we were able to connect with, I think, a total of, I'm going to say, about 55 businesses to get feedback from them, 21 in the East Lake area, and I think it was about 34 in the San Antonio area to hear their concerns about the project. We have a merchant outreach report that we have that looks at all of their concerns and talks about what they think we should do differently about the project. In doing that outreach effort, they came up with some concerns. I'll show the concerns. These are some of the concerns that they expressed, as has been mentioned here today. Displacement of parking, blocked driveways during construction, loading zones, pedestrian safety, and other construction issues like dust and noise and detours. Okay. All right. So let me pause and say that there are also a lot of positive feedback that we received as well. Many of the merchants felt this project was good for that, would be good for their businesses in the long term. felt that the improvement that this would bring was something that would benefit Oakland as a whole, but also their communities. And so even though recognizing that there would be impacts, looking toward the long-term benefits, I think there was a sense that this was a positive project for the community, recognizing that we do have to manage the mitigations. So these are some of the examples of the mitigations that we received from merchants. Okay? We talked about planning construction around business hours, or in such a way that vehicular access to merchant driveways is maintained during construction. Install or expand curb cuts to create additional alternative driveways for merchants located at corner lots, much like this location. Meters and posted time limits be installed along the blocks so that you have less unregulated parking spaces. So what I read in one of the comments was that there is a need for more metered and regulated parking, because without the regulated parking, you would have people who would find a parking space and would be there for the bulk of the day, which didn't allow other folks to come in and use the space and come in and shop and do business, because folks could just find a parking space and remain there for a long period of time. Okay? So based on the merchant by merchant or block by block outreach that we touched about, and I think this number I have in here is a little low. We think we touched about between 15 and 25% of merchants up and down the corridor to again get their concerns and proposed mitigations. We were able to create a matrix where we were able to group businesses by type, and also what were the mitigations or concerns based on those individual businesses. So I think the gentleman earlier talked about a automobile business or a auto dependent type business, and those are one of the significant blocks of businesses that we were able to identify, and they were able to link those with common impacts and also common mitigations. So the hope being that by looking at these groups by type, we can identify certain kinds of mitigation up and down the corridor that might be able to meet their needs on a consistent basis, and then apply those up and down the corridor. So if you are an auto-dependent business and you recognize there are certain impacts you're going to have, we will be able to tell you that these are kinds of mitigations you should see and expect during construction on the project, so that so businesses are aware of what they should have. And if those things aren't happening, they have an ability to reach out to the contractor and also AC Transit to make sure we're able to then follow up and take any corrective action needed to make sure that those appropriate mitigations are actually being put in place during construction. And by combining this with a merchant directory, we're creating a directory that lists every merchant up and down the corridor. That will allow us to stay in contact with that merchant, engage with them, share information with them, so that they can contact us and we can contact them and let them know when construction is going to happen, what kind of mitigation should be in place, and ahead of time, so that we're aware of what when the construction will occur, and also be able to reach out to us if there's anything they may need during that time frame to make sure their businesses aren't disrupted. So this also allows us to work with, we have established a community outreach working group where there's a couple people in the room who attend those meetings. Andy and Eliza are there. Javier has also attended some of those meetings, as well as Jeffrey from Transform, have attended those meetings where we are working with community-based organizations to talk about and develop mitigations and outreach strategies for this project. So when we talk about engaging with businesses, this is another avenue in which we are having people come together to help us make sure that we have a broad perspective on what mitigation can be and what ways we can address them as part of this process moving forward. Next slide. So this is sort of a graphic description of what the result of the merchant outreach plan is pulled together for us. Basically, what it identifies is different stages of the project, different kinds of activities, how many merchants we think will be touched, who has different kinds of accountabilities, and how the community, through the community outreach working group, can be involved in helping make sure that we're executing on those things. So from a pre-construction phase where we are right now, the activities that we talked about, merchant directories being developed, we're doing business-to-business outreach that we talked about. We're having community-based organizations meetings as we speak. We've done a walking tour of one of the council districts with one of the council members. That's available to do that with other council members as well. We're looking at the possibility of the city bringing forth some business sustainability programs. Yes.
You're at 20 minutes.
Am I at 20 minutes already? Okay. Well, let me wrap this up real quick. Give me 2 more? Okay. I can do that. So I got my 2-minute warning. So when you look at this list, who we're going to touch, so the director along the corridor included in the directory, we expect that through the business-by-business outreach, as I mentioned earlier, we hope to have touched more than 25% of businesses. And through the business sustainability program, that's going to be determined how many merchants get touched in that area. You see where AC Transit has accountability for some things. The City of Oakland has a role to play in partnering with us in some of them. They have some which are primarily in their bucket, like the pre-business or pre-construction business sustainability. Also, you look post-construction. What are some of the supplemental business support that needs to be provided by businesses impacted by the construction and the project? We don't know how many of that will reach. That's the issue about what kind of resources we can bring together to help make that happen. So when you look at I want to make sure we talk about the community outreach working group and the community in general. They have a role to play in this as well. So as we are doing these things, we are bringing these issues before the community working group. They can give us feedback. Are these the right things, or other things we should be doing? What should we be looking at? When we get to construction, they can help monitor, make sure the mitigations are being put in place, and so forth. So that's kind of the layout of how we hope to make sure we're touching upon the issues of mitigation for businesses. Okay? So these are contact information. Just want to say we have some brochures up here. Feel free to grab these. We have them in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. There's contact information here on this block, email address where you can send in an email inquiry. We will respond to it. There's a telephone number in which you can call and leave a verbal message as well. You can do that in any of those languages.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wright. First, I'd like to say there's some new people that came. Folks like to
Yeah, we're new.
I'm Manuel Romero from Romero Glass Studios.
Okay.
My name is Jose Dorado. I have a tax preparation business on Fruitvale.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Emma Navarro. I'm coming from Milagros de Mexico in East Oakland.
My name is Carolina Gonzalez and I'm Emma's daughter.
My name is Guadalupe de la Paz and I have a business in 2270 International Boulevard.
I'm Suzanne with Eastside Arts Alliance on International at 23rd Avenue.
Okay, my name is Susan Chen. I represent Wendy Chiang Auto with here. And International, 1-800 International Boulevard.
Sir?
Sir,
I'm sorry, I'm Clarence
introduce
Johnson.
yourself. Sorry.
I'm with AC Transit in the Blvd.
Okay. Okay, let me.
Sorry, we missed it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Beverly Crane. I'm from AC Transit, and my niece went into labor this morning, so I'm sorry that I'm late.
Okay.
Congratulations.
So So before I move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the question by merchants, I'm sure a lot of anxiety, a lot of people want to ask questions. But let me do some debate about what you just said during your presentation. Number one, you said that your desire to work with the merchant is very high. Let me ask you, what have you done besides listening to our concern? Did you do? I understand there are 3 points that you try to say, putting in meters and reduce, work with our construction, work with our hours during the construction frame. But what about the parking lots? What do you do about it? It doesn't, I feel like you should only put the bandage over the problem and there's no concrete step to create more parking for us. And we already suffering parking here. So to add to the problem with AC Transit, I mean with the bus rapid transit system, how are you going to mitigate that problem? It's a permanent and it's real problem that we are facing right now. Also, second.
So the question is really, how much parking loss?
Yes.
How much parking loss? Where is the parking loss? How much replacement? And where is the replacement parking for Eastlake and San Antonio?
So, for Eastlake and San Antonio, when you look at the impacts on parking and displacement of parking, there's a total of about 600 variety of parking spaces in the two areas. About 100 of those have been impacted by the current design. Okay. Let me speak to when you ask the question about what are we doing about parking and what are we doing about business impacts.
For Eastlake, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, we Eastlake is part of the big message, but what I want to say is that what we are doing right now and having these conversations is finalizing and developing those actual plans. So when we look at the 65% design, the goal today and future conversations with folks is to get feedback so we take it back. So what may be identified as part of 40% design will be looked at as part of the 65% design, and the feedback we get can influence what that looks like. So currently, it looks like there'll be a loss of about 103 parking spaces up and down the corridor. We are adding new parking spaces. One of them on 35th and International, another at Austin and International Boulevard. So those are additional parking spaces. I don't know the exact configuration, so I can't tell you the precise number of new spaces may be added as a result of that. But those are locations where we'll be bringing in additional parking spaces.
So you don't know where the replacement parking will be in San Antonio?
Eastlake.
Not in detail that I can give you at the moment.
I can tell you, I'm sorry, I can tell you that I look at the plan and there's no replacement for Eastlake or San Antonio. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But I know there's no replacement for Eastlake. So that's my concern.
Does anybody else in the room know where the replacement parking will be for Eastlake Center?
Yeah.
I have a question. Well, the last time you said that you're going to tell us where the parking areas is going to be. The area that we have, the closest one is like 4 blocks from the area that our business is. So I don't think that it's people walking 4 blocks just to go to buy something for the pharmacy. We have a pharmacy and natural remedies. So it's not fair for a people that is sick to come to the walk 4 blocks just to come to buy one remedy. So if you can give us exactly the areas so we can figure out what we can do, or I don't know, but we need that exactly the areas. So it's going to help us so think what can we do with that. Also, we have delivery of products. We want to know if we are going to have areas to deliver the products. So there is a lot of stores that we have the same problem. So we want to know about that too, please.
What we hope to do with the loading zone is try to replace the loading zone on a one-by-one basis, and try to relocate the loading zones as close to where they previously existed as possible. So the goal is to make sure that we maintain a level of loading zone access, but we will have to move it to a different location. But the goal is to make it as close to where it is currently exists.
Okay. Sorry.
I want to stick to your agenda, but I want to speak before I...
Okay.
And you need to, what is your timing?
have to leave.
I need to leave by 10:30 for sure.
Okay, so let me say something really quick and then I'll just turn it over to our Councilwoman. Are you sure? Okay, that's fine. We'll stay with agenda. Let me also say something about, you said that you try to do the average block by block. I personally own the corner lot of 6th Avenue and International. We also have the office on corner of 7th Avenue, and yet I haven't heard. The first time I heard about this project is last week when Javier called me. So, you're not doing a good job, and please, Councilwoman, please make sure that this will not happen again, because many of our merchants in the area got surprised by this. Also, the fact that she owned the grocery store right there across the street, and I know according to the plan that I got from the basic, is that you guys will have a landing there, the bus stop there, right in front of her doors, and yet she doesn't know about that. So that says something a lot about your outreach. It needs to be, you guys really need to do a better job, and I just want to say that please, when you say something, please do it and mean it. Not just saying that so that our community feel better. That's what I want to address, today for the meeting. At the end of the meeting, I would like our councilwoman to please do not vote for the final plan until, AC Transit sit down with us and have a real concrete action mitigation plan to address all our concerns. Thank you.
Getting back to our agenda, so answer to the first question, we don't know what the replacement quantity will be. Mr. Romero.
Also, how do you plan to deal with the issue of the right lane for being a loading zone? I own Romero Glass Studios and I get big trucks to deliver my glass. So one of those trucks is going to block completely the line.
So no existing loading zone, just using the right-hand lane as a loading zone.
Right, so I think there's going to, in that perspective, we're going to have to look at a number of different things, because we would have to look at determining, particularly our partners in the city, so what do we do about the fact that the street is unloaded vehicles? So there's some issues that need to be looked at in that regard, and I think we're going to have to figure out how we come to some sort of collaborative.
I heard that you guys want to make some time after the glass. Our company, my company, they don't work after hours. So it won't be no problem for me to deliver. I want to establish too how you guys going to support the business that they get hurt by your project. Okay.
How about you close two lanes, right?
For the bus alone, so basically 4 condensed into 2,
Yeah,
okay.
So that our business like when it comes to international, we just depend on the traffic, this last traffic.
The flowing.
And this is why nobody can drive. Nobody wants to drive the international anymore.
Yeah.
Because so traffic, it's only 2 lanes. We now our because traffic have been since 1988, 27 years already, 24 to 6 years ago.
I'm 35
We have
years.
the good business. We make a last job in there. The job opportunity, and we make money. But after that, we lose a lot.
Just to clarify something, what is the Fruitvale bypass? Yeah, you had it up on the screen.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well,
He wants to know what the Fruitvale bypass is. Can anybody from AC Transit explain the Fruitvale bypass?
The Fruitvale Bypass project is just a reconfiguration of the intersection at Fruitvale and San Leandro Street to accommodate the traffic modeling with regards to traffic flow through that intersection.
So you're going around, you're going down San Leandro or you're bypassing Fruitvale?
It's just the name that we gave to that project. But the project is just to reconfigure the intersection, to create left turns, left turn lane, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's all.
Actually, it's not a lot of people take the bus. Trust me. No.
I'm sorry?
It's not a lot of people take the bus.
So basically, most of them...
It's waste time, waste money. Absolutely.
So in their opinion, most of the local business here are surviving because of their people, automobile industry, and people driving to the area. So when you create the traffic like that, for sure this entire neighborhood will be changed.
Yes, dead already. The whole area there. No business.
And so my question for you, Councilwoman, and for you, AC Transit, what do you do about those
Stop it.
businesses that you cannot mitigate the problem?
You have to stop
their
it.
concern and their problem, we're hurting badly. This is real concern, and yet there hasn't been any answer, concrete answer on what you can do about that.
Could we first hear from AC Transit?
Okay, I just want to make sure.
We're going to get Pat in the agenda.
Well, let me start by, I think that, there is, our goal, and I'll, say it again, our goal is to work with the businesses to identify potential mitigations. That's not going to change, and that's what we are here to do. I think we've had 2 community meetings, we've had 3. 2 of them, I recognize yourself at both of them. So we are certainly, we are hearing your concerns, and so this effort is really designed to identify mitigation. So it would not be beneficial to the goal of identifying mitigations to at this point decide that there aren't mitigations that could potentially help businesses. We believe that there are. We believe in working with the city as partners, with community-based organizations, whether it's BASI, whether it's OSNI, Unity Council, and other businesses involved in that process. We can identify some very significant mitigations that can help businesses sustain themselves through the construction process for the project. So I'm hopeful that in those efforts we will come up with mitigations for a significant number of the businesses along the corridor. And that's what we're trying to achieve. So as we have these conversations, we want to make sure, again, we want to hear from the businesses. When we come to these meetings, what do they identify as mitigations? What would they like to see? We show some on the screen. So this is an ongoing process. We're not done with this process. The process is not complete, and we will continue to do more to bring more information to the table to help with that issue.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt this. And as I promised from the beginning of the meeting that I would not let people dancing around and question. And so that's exactly what you're doing, sir. I'm sorry, our concerns are not addressed. This is already, as I understand, you're already 65% completion for the design. And I understand if at some point, if you go too far, then we can suggest all we want, but it's not going to change.
Right,
that's what we are concerned and we worry. That's why we're recording the conversation today, and we want to make sure that your promise would translate into action, and that's...
So as we said earlier, the 65% design for the major construction is not complete. That is scheduled to go before the council in a number of months. So we are here to get information to inform that plan so that your perspectives are included in that discussion and development of the plan.
You have to understand, for our business people on 14th Street, one of the businesses takes everything. And this is basically a top-down decision. I mean, the community didn't ask for this. This is being proposed. And I don't see the benefit from the via our community. It could benefit Oakland, it could benefit AC, but I don't see what the benefit is.
So let me just come back to our agenda. So the answer to the question, what will you do when you can't accommodate the needs of a specific business? AC Transit doesn't have a plan for that at this point.
Our plan is to identify mitigations to address the concerns of the impacted businesses.
Right, and when you can't do that, then you don't have.
Well, but you're presuming that that's the answer.
Right.
But
Let's say if you can.
well, I mean, I can't really. It would be.
It's okay.
Well, let me just say that our goal is to identify the mitigations. So
Sure.
at this point, you suggest that if we can't, then what will we do? It would be preemptive.
Okay.
To do that at this point.
Okay. Let me just, so we know everyone process-wise in the room, that well, the two people who actually work for AC, three people? There's three people in the room that actually work for AC Transit, right? Okay, just to make sure we know, because Terry's a consultant. I mean, so Beverly, you work for AC Transit?
I do, and let me just say that we've been working closely with Terry. He's able to, we meet constantly about what's going on, and we're back in the office trying to figure out how to address things. So he's our right hand.
Mr. Wilkins works for AC Transit. You're an engineer, is that what you do? Could you say your title for us?
I'm the program director, Andy.
Program director. Thank you. Clarence Johnson.
Yeah, I'm the media affairs manager.
Thank you, sir. So just returning to our agenda, I know you've got to leave at 10:30. I'm going to give you, make sure you get time. But I
actually want to ask questions very specifically to follow up on your questions.
Okay.
Okay. We just have two more quick questions, and then we're going to let you get in. So, BNA, would you, BNA, Marius from BNA's Kitchen, wanted to ask a question.
Will AC Transit coordinates a meeting with some of us within the next 3 weeks to come up with solutions to parking, loading, and other concerns? And if yes, how and when?
Well, we met with the Community Outreach Working Group last week. We shared our merchant outreach report, gave a summary. It was decided at that point that we would use that document to identify and create some likely scenarios of impact for similarly situated businesses, and then meet with members of the Community Outreach Working Group to identify possible mitigations. Mr. Nelson asked me if we could have some businesses participate in that exercise. I said, yes, we could. So that's one thing that we are doing. So
the answer to that question is yes.
Within that context, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you. That's good.
Okay. And
Okay.
the next one.
This is actually, let me just, can I just work this
Sure.
one? So the other thing we want, so we know that you guys get to 65%, it can be very difficult to backtrack. We know that's coming up the next 2 to 3 months. So what the merchants are actually asking, and it's for them, not for staff of nonprofits. But will you commit to getting the approval of these groups of merchants that you've been meeting with, or that have been meeting in Fruitvale, San Antonio, and Eastlake? Will you commit to getting their approval of the plan that you come up with to minimize the harm to businesses before the 65% design phase is done, even if it means changing the project timeline?
As I said earlier, we are committed to working with you to develop mitigations. And when we do that, we will present that business impact mitigation plan as a condition of approval to the City of Oakland. So what we have an opportunity to do now, in these next 2 to 3 months, is work very closely together to identify those mitigations and look at those scenarios and make sure we have as complete and comprehensive business impact mitigation plan that we can. So we are committed to working with you to inform that plan.
So one follow-up. So if you don't come up with a plan that the merchants that you've been meeting with agree with, you're still going ahead to City Council, just to be clear.
Are you going to proceed?
We will be developing a plan that we will present to the City Council.
So does it matter? Okay.
No. Well, I didn't. No. Let me be clear. I didn't say it didn't matter. What I said was, if we are working with you to develop a plan with your input and your suggestions that reflect your concerns, that we will have a better business impact mitigation plan as a result, and we will take that to the City Council.
So that means, in other words, my question is, unless we sit down, and agree with what you come up with, then you will submit those plans, or without our approval, you still go ahead and submit the plans.
We
to
have an
council.
obligation to submit the plan to the City of Oakland. We will do that.
So in other words, it doesn't matter. So
Well,
now it comes
no,
to,
but that's not what he
Please, let
said.
me just be,
Okay.
thank you, but let me again say this. So we are here this morning because we have worked with EBAC and formed a plan. We will do that. So at the end of the day, we will have a plan that is informed and improved by the input from the businesses up and down the corridor, and we will present that to the city. So it does matter what the businesses say, and we want to hear it. We want to give you opportunities to bring that forward, and we will continue to do that.
So this plan will be informed and approved by the business up and down.
It will be informed by the input we get from the community up and down the corridor.
Can I just,
Go ahead, Beverly. Before you may want to talk some after I talk, because I'm going to try to be more specific about the questions they're asking.
Thank you.
So it's okay if I talk now?
Please.
So, greetings to everybody who's here, and some of you, the people in San Antonio, I've been at numerous meetings with you, but the folks in the East Lake, not. And so just a couple of prefacing remarks, and then I want to get very specific about the questions here. So this whole BRT project, has been worked on, I think, for 10 years by AC Transit, but it really kind of got advertised to the community starting about 2 years ago, and that outreach reached some merchants and not others. And it did, the people in San Antonio did hear about it and had a number of meetings, both general ones like this, and then some very specific merchant by merchant ones. And in the San Antonio and other parts in East Oakland, sat down and looked at the very detailed maps that shows exactly what is happening on every block, where there's a loading zone, where there's parking being eliminated, where there's a left turn lane. I mean, exactly what's going on. And so there were, AC Transit did make some efforts to meet one-on-one with merchants there who were very specifically impacted, like if there's a business that needs to do loading and unloading and the parking was being eliminated, they talked about what could be done. And in some of those circumstances, the AC Transit engineers were able to suggest modifications of the actual design that could address the situation. In some of the cases, there just wasn't anything anybody could figure out, and there's very likely to be, in those cases, a very serious impact on those businesses. I mean, maybe the business will go out of business, maybe it won't. So I'm going to get to the questions here about the East Lake. But first, the reason the City Council has voted to go forward with various steps of the Bus Rapid Transit project is that it does have the potential to do some very positive things for the International Boulevard corridor. But it also has the potential to do some negative things. And so we were trying to weigh, what's the balance of all this? So, as they said, there's going to be a whole bunch of physical improvements. It's going to look a lot nicer. And it will transport riders faster up and down the corridor, which is, for the riders, a good thing. And the buses along International Boulevard this is the most heavily, it's got the highest ridership of anywhere in the whole AC Transit system. So there's really a lot of people in this whole East Oakland corridor who actually do ride the bus. And so, we wanted to pay attention to them too. But, so that is why the City Council said, okay, we'll go forward with this. The last time the City Council voted on this, we said, yes, we'll go forward, but on these conditions, that AC Transit come up with mitigations for the businesses that are going to be harmed because of loss of parking and other things like that. So we've been waiting for those mitigations. AC Transit has told us, well, give us some time. By the time we get to the 65% completed design, that's when you'll see the goods. Okay, so we're waiting for that. So, so anyway, this whole news really didn't get to the East Lake merchants until much more recently. And so so there's a lot of one-on-one conversations that need to happen. What I am concerned about is that it has taken so long to even get to the point of having a very general meeting like this one, where nothing specific is solved. We just talk about generalities. And in 2 months, the 65% plan is supposed to be in front of the city council. So it's scheduled to come in mid-May, which is just a little over 2 months from now. And so I want to hear from AC Transit very specifically, will you have engineer-type people actually meeting with merchants who are losing parking or losing loading zones and coming, and trying to analyze what possible changes or mitigations could be done? Because you're going to have to do that, I would think, in the next 3 to 4 weeks in order to actually impact any changes in the 65% design. So my question to you is, will you meet, look at those really detailed plans and do that kind of very detailed legwork, some of which was already done in San Antonio and other places. What I am perplexed by is sort of the generality of this conversation, that you're saying, yes, we'll hear you, your input will inform our stuff. Well, it's a bunch of work to have that happen. I mean, you really need the design people and the traffic engineer type people out here talking with them, looking at the map and trying to figure that out. So my question is, when is that going to happen?
I'm sorry, and also may I say something too? Thank you. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we need to hear from you. Also, is it possible that we bring in our own engineer? Can you fund us for that? Because this is very specific stuff. It needs some expertise. By the way, when you say that you go block by block, merchant by merchant, when we don't know what is going on, this is another level of expertise. Basically, you put us in a corner and say, look, this is our thinking, this is what's happening. But we never hear the other side of the story, the negative impact on our businesses. So in a way, it's not fair.
Just because I know we got time issues here, so we got two questions on the table. Council President Kernahan has asked, when are you going to do specific business by business discussions with engineers in hand? Two farmers asked, could you, AC Transit, pay for some consulting engineers so that the community's on an equal footing with you all? So those are the two questions on the table right now.
So Councilwoman, I can't tell you that we can do that tomorrow, because I would have to talk with design and engineers and figure out where they are or how we can facilitate making that happen. I will take this back to the team and figure out how we can make more engagement with some businesses along the corridor happen very soon.
Okay, so that is not a satisfactory answer to me, and I know that you're.
I'm sorry?
To me, does not answer my question. But
let me try to answer your
because
question.
I know who needs to answer this question.
So let me do that then, Councilman Kernahan. So this is a matter of timing. So the 65% design that we're submitting is not the end of the design effort, for one thing. But what it represents is it's the point where the design of the roadway alignment, the station architecture, the landscaping, all the different elements, communication systems and everything that are going to make the BRT work are at a point where our agency partners go out and do the technical review. But as it affects the community in terms of this issue around business impacts, the timing of this is when we go into construction. So what that means is over the next few weeks, we are working with our agency partners to resolve design issues that are going to have an impact on what the final outcome of the parking impact is going to be along the corridor. We don't know that. We don't know that yet. Okay, for example, we are working with the cities of Oakland and San Leandro to address ADA ramps at the intersections. And depending on the size of the curb ball, for example, and how the ramp's located, that could possibly impact the amount of parking displacement along the corridor. Well, we're still working out those issues because of functional needs access requirements that we have to include in the design along the corridor. So it would be premature for us to have detailed discussions that you're talking about, say today. But in a few weeks, we're going to be able to start having those because the design is being solved in kind of a block by block and neighborhood by neighborhood and section by section area. So as those sections of the design get resolved, then it's our intention to come back out to the community through our outreach team that's sitting here with supporting technical staff at that time to have workshops and to go through exactly what we went through with you, Councilmember Kernahan, a while back. We go block by block and say, this is what's going on in your neighborhood, so let's talk about what potential impacts might be now that you have some more specifics around it. For example, in this corridor here on 12th Street, this is southbound direction mixed flow for the BRT. So what you can expect to see in the future is not going to be much different than what you see now, except that there's going to be BRT station that's going to replace a local bus stop. But the BRT stations are going to only displace parking to create a curb ball so that the bus can just stay in the same travel lane that exists out there right now, pull up to the station platform, load and offload passengers, and go to the next one. So there's 3 of those curbside stations just in this segment between Lakeshore and 14th Avenue. There's no lane loss here, as your perception is. That's not true. There's no lane loss in this mixed flow section right here. And the same on International Boulevard in the north around this and the need to know now. But as Terry has indicated, this process that we have with the Community Outreach Working Group, the process that we have set up to come back to you, in the coming weeks it's going to be with specific workshops to go through, look at the blocks where your businesses are and go through and look at every single aspect. Loading zones, for example, in our parking methodology, at least as it's written up to this point, any displacement of a loading zone along the corridor gets replaced within the same block. So we're not going to just eliminate loading zones and then they're gone. There are certain parts of the parking methodology that require one-to-one replacement, and loading zone is one of them. So there's not going to be any forced, removal of a loading zone, which obviously would impact the businesses. So the other thing is that the business impact mitigation plan that we are in the process of developing and that we're going to be developing with your input and the input that we get from you after we have the workshop, so you can see the specifics about how the roadway alignment, the station location, all that is going to specifically impact the blocks where your businesses are. The design gets to a point where we can have the workshop for you. And then all of those outreach efforts and getting the input from you is going to help inform the mitigation plan. All right? So we're not going to go into construction for the major roadway improvements, all the stations, until the summer of 2015. That's going to give us a lot of time between now and then to engage with you repeatedly so that you have a clear understanding of what's going on in your specific area, your specific block.
And then, Mr. Wilkins, I'm sorry. Yeah. Alarm minutes 10:30. I want to hear if Pat got an answer.
Oh, okay. I got a little bit of my answer, but what I mean, you're talking about the block by block effort. That's what I'm asking about. That's what I'm saying. When? So when when will you, be sitting down with the merchants on a particular block and going, over every little thing, loading zones and on each block in the East Lake neighborhood? So, I mean, really, it's, kind of from First Avenue to 14th Avenue. The people, I think, that are mostly here are kind of this middle core. But that's what I want to know when, because you're going to have to turn this stuff in a month and a half.
I understand, but that's what I'm talking about, the timing, Councilmember. So the mitigations that we...
Can I interrupt you? There's really two kinds of mitigations. One is to actually change the street design, or to actually change your 65% designs in a physical way, like to move parking spots or what have you. That's one kind of mitigation, and that's the first step that we're talking about.
Right.
The second thing is, if you cannot fix a problem in that manner, then you go to the other kind of business mitigation, which is how do you help a business survive even though they now have a less advantageous street design. So, and that's more what Ms. Dio from the city and other people at AC Transit are going to work on. And so for the merchants, there are these two different parts of it. But what I want to focus on is that first piece, which is to make sure you have sat down with them and explored in detail, is there some little design change that could help eliminate the problem of lost parking or loading zones. So that's the part I would like to see have happen within the next 3 weeks, is you meeting with them on every block.
Okay, so it's timing. So as we go through working with our agency partners to develop the design effort, the design is going to go out for review. That's also the time that we can have enough information, right? We can have the specific details that would concern a business around parking and all these other issues, so that we can do these workshops. So when we distribute the 65% design, it's for review. It's not for finalization, okay? Because there's a whole there's a mandatory process that we have to go through during the review phase. So during the works, let me finish, because this is an important part to understand, and this answers your question. This is when we get the feedback that informs the design so that the design can move forward. So the 65% isn't the be-all and end-all. So for example,
in your resolution that goes to the city council, it is the be-all and end-all.
No, it's
this to AC Transit. If you come to the city council and want us to give you an unconditional approval to go forward at 65%, then then you better have it addressed at 65%. If, as I think Mr. Wilkins is saying, that 65% is just another point to have a conversation, well, the city council approval is going to be pushed out as well.
So you didn't let me finish. So there's a mandatory review process that we have with the 65% design plan.
I'm going to give you 2 more minutes.
And that's where we get all the comments. So in that period, just like the agency partners design teams are making comments on the plans, the outreach team is going to be out getting comments from the merchant community through these workshops to inform that design. So the 65% that goes to city council is going to be the plan plus everybody's comments that's going to inform the design going forward. So you'll know at that point, that's the 65% that the city council gets. At that point, you'll be able to say, this was the plan. The plan is now with addressing all these comments from the merchants, from the city of Oakland, from Caltrans, from San Leandro on various aspects of the design. You'll be able to see very clearly that it satisfies the Oakland condition of approval, the San Leandro condition of approval, and all the state laws and rules and regs and all of that. Then that's the 65% plan that goes forward. That's what the city council gets to see. You don't the one that we put forth in the beginning of April. Nobody's looked at that.
No, I get it. So what I hear you saying is that when the 65% plan comes to the city council, it will have incorporated all the comments and needs of every merchant in this room and a whole lot of others that are in this area. So I am looking at you to get that done before it comes to city council. And I also want to ask the merchants to work in good faith. I mean, if they come out and really, do what they're supposed to do and show you the plans, I hope you will work in good faith to try to come up with, whatever changes would really solve your problems. But I am just worried that it has taken so long for AC Transit to get down to the nitty-gritty instead of having these generalized meetings all over the place. So anyway, I'll stop and actually I have to leave.
I appreciate. I want to ask two questions. If they can't be answered with specific dates, then I don't answer them right now. When is the 65% design going to be entirely completed and ready for City Council? I just need a date.
For the council, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometime this summer.
Okay, so by when will you come back out and meet with each business individually to get their input on this plan?
Hopefully by the middle of next month, we should be able to start having these workshops, if not sooner than that.
So you're going to come out and meet with each business individually starting in the middle of next month?
No, that's not what I said. We are going to, and in keeping with the good, she asked if we would engage the businesses block by block. We will do that. We can do that. We can have workshops and figure out how to get the maximum penetration of the businesses to get their input. I think it's premature to say that means how we do that. But the goal is to make that happen. But I just want to make sure that when you say go block the block and talk to every business individually, may not be the most effective way to get input for the plan. But we need to figure out how to do that. We're committed to make that happen.
That's right. I appreciate that. You guys already committed earlier that you were going to meet with a group with us to design the mitigations overall. So appreciate that commitment. We're going to follow up with you on that. Looks like we're not able to get a date of by when you will come out and go block by block. Is that correct?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you so much.
Hold on, we're not done yet. So is that right? Is that right? We're not able to get a date of when you're going to come out and talk to businesses about block by block what's happening?
We will come back to you with the schedule.
All right. So let me just say, thank you very much for the commitments we did get from you. Let me just say a couple things just so that we're clear for the record. The businesses that raised concerns about the loss of the middle lane were San Antonio businesses where the middle lanes, two lanes are lost. The other thing about the loading zones, we need to be real clear on the loading zone issue. It's not about existing loading zones. It is about businesses who are entirely dependent on using the existing right-hand lane to come and for delivery and pickup. All right, and that's what Mr. Romero was talking about, just to be clear that that's what the issues are. Final thing I'll say, of those businesses that Ms. Kernahan referenced in San Antonio, that we came out and we did, and it's true, we did do some engagement. Haven't seen it codified in any drawings or any written thing, but we did some engagement, sort of figured out some solutions for about 10 out of the 13 businesses right at that stop where they're going to lose parking. Of the remaining 3, 2 are shut down. 1 is currently a suspected illegal marijuana grow. So that's where our question comes. Dina, do you want to ask this?
Yeah, in the previous meetings, there was a concern about what will happen if this project goes forward and business lose money. Will the city or AC Transit be able to fund, help the businesses with their loss?
That's probably Ms. Gaio might be able to respond.
She left.
So that's my main concern, and I know it's most of the concern, that most likely we will lose business, and is there going to be any way that you guys will be able to help us?
Funding compensation. And also my question hasn't been addressed too, that I would like to see if consultant.
Something with the business person standpoint. AC mandate is to transport people.
Yes.
Their business is not helping us business people.
So it sounds like that's a comment. I just want to reiterate.
Let me just, it was a comment, and And so, but I do, we had a question from V&A. I don't know do you want to respond at all, Lisa, or you want to? She was asking, is there going to be any assistance for businesses who are either have to be relocated or harmed?
At the last meeting, for those of you that were there, Fred Blackwell, is Assistant City Administrator, which there will be a change today.
Thank you.
Will now become with the City Council endorsement, the new City Administrator did say that the city we don't have funds available that our way to participate in this project, because we believe in the project from a staff level. That was the position that Mr. Blackwell gave. But we also understand we have to work with our existing businesses and look for new business opportunities to fill in and provide additional services to our residents. We did say that we were going to work really closely with AC on the design in the community. So I think that was an achievement today about the willingness to work. We too at the city level, we have to get a better sense of the design as well. So we're very interested in working as another partner in that effort. As it relates to the businesses, and if we could provide disruption funding, and no one said the word, relocation funding, we don't have the funds to do that. But what we're trying to do, along with the OSNI project, the Oakland International Boulevard project, is to look at a way to, and I said this before, to create a fund. And that fund could be possibly funded by banks, corporations, foundations, that could help us with the training that we think our businesses need to get ready for the project, how we can work with them to enhance their business front and their operation. And we don't have the ability to provide grants, so it would have to be loans that we would be able to provide. And the thought there is that if we could get some outside support, we can write down the responsibility. So that's kind of what we're working towards, as much as possible, to create this fund opportunity. Other cities, other projects have done this, where they create it. Can we provide grants? We're not there. We're not there. We're just not there yet. So I think it would be premature and unfair to make that commitment to you at this time.
So are you working on it, or it's completely shut down? Because as you know, we are crying out for help.
No, we are working on it.
Business forever.
We are working on it. Yes.
That'd be me. That'd be me, the one that be out of business. So if you don't have anything to do, might as well leave home and try to find a job. I'm 69 years old. Who's going to give me a job? AC Transit? Who's going to do something for me? Nobody? I stated last time I have a 12-year-old daughter. She wants to go to college. Who is going to fund me for that? Mr. Engineer? Mr. Senor over there? Nobody. You? Gallo? No, I bought for Gallo.
I know.
Like I bought for Ignacio. And what do I get? Now I get to destroy Ignacio de la Fuente's project over there, and the city with his name. What's going on?
I'm going to have to let that be the last word. Our agenda's at an end. Mr. Romero, you get the last word.
Thank you.
I want to just quick summarize. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for a very spirited exchange, and a very honest and spirited exchange. I want to also thank AC Transit for the commitments that we did get, which, just to restate, is that as you design sort of the overall mitigation approach, you will involve merchants in that conversation, select a group of merchants, and you will do that within 3 weeks, I think I heard.
Is it 3 weeks?
Mr. Lester? Mr. Lightfoot? 3 weeks? Within 3 weeks, did we hear? Okay, thank you. I think we heard from Mr. Wilkins that he had committed that AC Transit would engage on a block-by-block basis businesses in the East Lake. We didn't get a date. The assumption is that will happen well in advance of the 65% going to City Council. Is that correct, Mr. Wilkins? You comfortable with that?
That's our intention, right?
Intention.
Okay, thank you. All right, okay. Thank you all very much, and I'm going to adjourn this meeting now.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Do you want to say something to our merchant too? Kevin and Andy, you know, you guys here.
I'd be happy to. I don't know if this is the appropriate form.
Yeah. I guess we can do one-on-one since they are.
I mean, I would really be happy to. I am running for City Council District 3. I was here just to learn today. 2, at the community cleanup on Saturday, informed me about the challenges, and I'm just here to learn and maybe provide a little guidance and direction.
Super. Thank you.
So, nice to see you.
Okay.
Oh, across the street. That's your partner.
Yeah, I mean, just call the general one. She's at extension 1, I'm at extension 2.
Either one of us will call. All right.
By the junction, yeah. Also, yeah. I want to start. I finish. I will move out.
I agree on that part. The long-term goal is fantastic, but the point is you need to work with us to mitigate the business plan where it doesn't hurt us as much. Some of the business owners. It might be better for some other business, but it's hurting.
So right